I'm so excited to be opening our coverage of the Balmoral Show. It's the 155th. There's so much happening here today, so much excitement to be had, so many wonderful exhibits to be seen. I'm just absolutely thrilled. The scenes at Balmoral a week ago were entirely different to today. We had empty car parks, we had people working like fury to get the place ready for the show. I got the chance to talk to Rhonda Geary, Group Operations Manager here at Balmoral, and I asked her, given it's the biggest agricultural show in the country, how big was the job of running it?
Well, I mean, I have a fabulous team of staff who all know the ins and outs of their various parts of the show, and it all comes together like a well-oiled machine. As well as the staff, we also have about 250 voluntary stewards who work along the different parts of the show. And I mean, they all know their sections inside out. They're all experts in their own field, whether it be cattle, horses, poultry, and with their help, they help to put the show on as well.
Roughly speaking, how many people do you expect over the 4 days of the show?
Well, we'd hope to get well over 120,000 this year. That's what we're aiming for.
120,000 people. That's an awful lot of people to organise over a 4-day period. How do you manage it?
Well, it is indeed, but we need the help of our security team and all our stewards to get people safely into the site. We're probably talking about 35,000 as a max each day, and obviously we've all the various facilities on site for that number of visitors. We're on a large site here, 65-acre site, so there's plenty of space for them to roam about.
There's also plenty that you have to do between now and the show opens. How long does it take you to plan the show? Does it start when the last day of the show ends?
It very much does, because we pull together what we call our points for action list. So things that we think just didn't work well this year, or things that we thought, no, we'll do that differently next year. We pull those all together. As soon as the show's over, we have meetings with all our various sections. Could be our cattle committee, our equine committee, our catering committee, and we just review all the various sections of the show, and that all happens within a few weeks of the previous show, and we start to put together and plan for the following year. So it is a full 12-month operation.
And of course, it's not just the organising of the various exhibitors to come, it's getting new attractions as well. Is that hard?
Yeah, well, it is. It's very hard to find something new, and I mean, there are not an awful lot of main arena attractions about nowadays. We've had various motorcycle display teams in our main arena over the years, but they're still very popular and attract the crowd. I mean, you can hardly get standing space around the main arena when any of those motorcycle display teams are taking part.
Of course, agriculture is still the biggest income generator in Northern Ireland, still the biggest employer in Northern Ireland. How important is it to have a show like this for the industry?
Very, very important. I mean, agriculture is the core of this event, although we have all the sideline entertainment. Food is a very big part as well, but agriculture is very much the core of it. The winter the farmers have had in terms of the weather, I mean, we hope this will give them a bit of a good day out and a chance to meet up with people they maybe haven't seen since this time last year.
Last and by no means least, Rhonda, what should I not miss at this year's show?
I would say the cattle parade on Saturday. If you're here on Saturday, it's a fantastic spectacle in the main arena. Or for myself, my favourite is the International Show Jumping Grand Prix on Friday afternoon.
So one of the things that Rhonda Geary, Group Operations Manager here at Balmoral, told us was we should really see 3 things when we were at the show. We should see the horses, we should see the cattle, and we should certainly see the bikes, the trick bikes. So here we are at the show ring right now to see the horses strut their stuff and see the motorbikes fly. One of the showpieces here at the Balmoral Show is the big ring and the show jumping, the hunter classes, medium and heavyweight hunters. They've all done terribly well. They've showed us their paces, and we're about to talk to one of the breeders of one of those great horses. You're a breeder, lots of experience. You're up here at Balmoral. How important was it for you to bring this horse here today?
Oh, this is what you look forward to, getting him here.
And doing well. I mean, doing well. How important is that to you as a breeder?
That's the whole thing. That's all you look for.
And what do you look for as a breeder when you're trying to breed a good horse? What are you looking for?
Well, a good looker and and a good step.
You're probably not going to give me a huge delighted reaction here, but you must be feeling good. How good are you feeling?
Oh, over the moon to get the red rosette on her.
The red rosette says it all. And what does that do for you as a breeder going forward?
Oh, it does a whole lot for. Unless you get that, you're not doing any good.
This ram standing beside me has a clatter of prizes across his back. Clearly a great animal. And I'm standing beside his owner, who's equally proud. Tell me, how important is it to win prizes at the show?
Well, for us, it's years of work breeding and structuring our breeding programme around how we're going to develop the breed here in Northern Ireland, and it's so huge, and it makes all the work and the time and the energy that we put into it so worthwhile, and it does such a great thing for the breed because we're promoting a breed that is a rare breed in a country that's not its country of origin, but it's becoming very, very popular within the UK, Ireland and Northern Ireland at the moment.
Now, you and he and I are all panting in the heat today. How does he do in this sort of climate?
Well, in this climate, they do quite well. They can sort of cool themselves down and they'll go and lie in the shade normally. Here's a different story at the show today because he's standing in the sun. But they do cope quite well because in Switzerland, on the top of the Alps, they actually would get quite a lot of sunshine. And there would be a lot, although it is snow and whatever, during the summer years or the summer months, you have a lot of sun and a lot of hot weather, so they do cope quite well.
I don't want to keep either you or this fabulous animal standing in the sun any longer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Made our way to the sheep pens here, and we're seeing some amazing breeds and varieties of sheep, and we've been attracted by the Dutch spotted sheep. They look absolutely fabulous and they feel like they're easy to work with. I'm talking to James Riley now, who's a co-owner of one of the flocks, and the first thing I want to ask James is what attracted you to these Dutch spotted?
Well, I think obviously you're looking at they're lovely to look at. They're easy work with, their nature's good, they're easy to lamb, they're nice narrow faces on them, and they're just a lovely sheep to work with, and they're easy. They come to the bucket, as I say. I don't have a sheepdog at home, so they just come to the bucket, and they're nice and easy to work with, and they're lovely to look at, and people want them and want to have them in their flock.
And are they easy to bring to full production so that you're ready to get them to the consumer?
Yes, we're trying to get more into the market of the commercial man, particularly with the ram lambs, because they do breed a good shape of a lamb and a good lamb that will kill out to a good ratio. So we're hoping maybe that the breed, more of the ram lambs can go to the commercial men and they can use them in their flocks.
And how early can you get them to market as spring lambs?
Well, they're looking for sort of 12 weeks or so as a maximum. But the pedigree ones are probably lambing around in a January time. So roughly 12 weeks after that, your lambs. But the pedigree ones now will be kept obviously for sales throughout the year. But they're hoping the commercial man then will go on to that. A lot of the commercial men don't lamb in the middle of March, so but because of the weather, etc., in this part of the world, so it can be on through the summertime before they go to market.
James, I'm just smiling to myself as we have this conversation because most people don't like to think of bouncy lambs in the field in springtime sitting on their plate in the summer. How do you cope with that as a farmer?
Well, I've got 3 girls at home and a wife, and they all help. And they don't like to see them go up the road, to be honest with you. They don't come out whenever they're going on the cattle trailer up the road. And I certainly have a affinity with that, and I do understand that. You can't help it because you rear them from they come out to to that stage. Usually my wife probably names about 5 or 6 of them, and they have to be kept, it doesn't matter what, and that probably gets round most of that.
Bottom line, if you've named it, you can't eat it.
You can't eat it, no, it has to be kept for life, and we have a few like that.
Harry Ferguson was one of the founding fathers of modern agriculture here in Northern Ireland and right round the world because of the invention of his famous Ferguson tractor. I was lucky enough the other day to go and see leading enthusiast Sam Neill on his farm where he worked his potatoes, and then he talked to me about the wonderful machinery that Harry Ferguson invented.
Just like the reliability of all the older tractors in general, and I like being out in the open air, I must admit, rather than cooped up in a cab. And I do have my cab tractors, but I still like to get outside and go back to back to my youth, really.
So the sat-nav tractor's not for you then?
Not really. I think whenever I need a sat-nav, I'll quit and call myself a failure.
Oh, that wouldn't go down well with the folk that drive the big tractors and the big farms, though.
No, it probably wouldn't, but the same amount of ground's being worked today. There might be less people doing it, but the fields aren't much bigger than ever they were, and the wee tractors were capable of doing it, and there was good drivers able to drive a straight line.
What can this tractor at £100,000 do that my wee tractor at £2,500 can't?
Well, there's endless things. So it has 4-wheel drive. It has oil flow to power things like rams and belts. It has more power, so it can do things faster, more weight, so it can use bigger implements. But not to mention, it could pick up the Fergie on the front and still do the work.
We've just happened across a young enthusiast called Miles, who's had his own tractor built up or rebuilt from virtually from scratch. It's a beautiful looking tractor, and we're getting the opportunity to talk to him about why he did it.
Been a Fergie enthusiast the past about 5 years, so I bought my first one out of Frank McCaughren auctions in Balmoral. So I did about 5 years ago, and that's this one here. She was in a terrible state, and I got her fully restored and fully sprayed by a professional.
What's amazing me is that someone of your age is taking a tractor that is 4, maybe 5 times your age, and you're fixing it up, and are you going to run it?
I am indeed. It's just about preserving the history that used to be years ago, you know, and showing the future generation and keeping the vintage scene alive, really.
Miles, it looks immaculate. Do you work it as well?
I do indeed. She would do a bit of trailer work during the week and in the evenings, carting firewood and going to the bogs and that, you know.
And I'm guessing this tractor is at least 50 years old, maybe a whole lot more. Will we still have her in another 50?
Well, indeed, I'll keep her alive for as long as I can. She's in 1950 Ferguson, so she is.
One of the favourite demonstrations was the cookery demonstration by ex-politician, turned farmer, turned chef, Joy Ralston. We watched her show, and then we talked to her about it afterwards.
I get up every day thankful that I can create new dishes, find inspiration, but not only that, the local produce we have in Northern Ireland. And as being a farmer, this time of year I would be sitting on the back of a potato dropper waiting for the ping to drop the potatoes. So I know exactly what hard work goes from bringing the potatoes out of the field to put them on your plate. Again, with the dairy and poultry end of it, you can see exactly the hardships, and it's not all plain sailing. There's no industry is, but unfortunately farming has a little twist in the tail because you have the weather to worry about.
And of course the joy for you is that you literally get it not just farm to fork, but farm to pot to fork.
Yes, exactly. I have to say I have a best of both worlds, and been asked to come down here and create recipes solely for the Horticultural Society. So the recipes I'm doing today are new off the block. The printing just came in yesterday, so it gives me great pleasure to see somebody's reaction when they see something so easy done, but how you put a twist to it.
I'm looking forward to tasting some of this a little bit later on, but tell me what the highlights are of your displays today.
The highlights are round the corner. All that fresh produce that was brought down to me yesterday is just incredible. I have to be a little bit biased, and I have to put a little bit of poultry in, and my milk, of course. I always like to keep promoting the industry, but the highlight is having people down there, having a look-see, taking away the recipe page, and even contacting me afterwards and saying, my family just love that. So it's something that's versatile for everybody in the audience, because anybody can eat gluten-free, even you don't have an intolerance. But being able to cook with those ingredients out there, and those guys are such hard workers, in terms of the flours, etc., it just adds another element to it.
And of course, one of the joys in teaching is when you see the light bulb moments for people you're teaching. How many of those are you getting so far?
It's amazing to look down at the audience, I have to say. I do love to see the impressions on their faces whenever you mention something. You know, I do give advice during my cooking demos as well, in terms of everybody's got their favourite knife and how to look after it and so on. I have lived what they have done before I was a chef, so I know exactly what the farm kitchen's like and what the other members of the family can get up to whenever you're trying to keep your good equipment the way they should be.
There was much to catch the eye here at Balmoral, as there always is each year. And I was particularly taken by the social farming project run by Rural Support.
So social farming is a support service to enable clients, predominantly so far we've been working with clients maybe with a learning disability or a mental health problem, to get out on an ordinary working family farm. So we would be supported by DERA, and our support service train and provide the training for farmers to deliver this across Northern Ireland. So we currently have 18 active farms across the north at the moment. All our farms are different size, different enterprises. So some would be more horticultural based, others would be more animal based, and some would be a mixture of both.
You've been doing this project now since 2011. What do the participants get out of it?
It's social inclusion for a lot of them. It's routine. It's part of their daily week. Very positive for them all. So it has benefits for not only the participant, but the social farmer and the wider farming family that get involved with it. The benefits are for everybody.
The lads who I have are making a genuine contribution to the work on the farm. They're not just doing jobs that we make up for them. They're actually undertaking tasks that actually need done, like fencing, hedge clipping, a bit of work with the allotment site, to spend a bit of time on the allotments, doing sort of work with some of the different allotment lottees and things like that, So they are contributing themselves from a labour point of view to the daily tasks as well. Also, what you've got is the social interaction. So from the family perspective, the lads that are coming to me, they're coming to me for now 9 years. They're part of the family. They're part of our larger social circle within the local community, because all our neighbours know them now. I've always said there's two sides to the learning curve with regards to social interactions. There's the social interactions where someone with a disability interacts with someone who hasn't got one. But there's also a massive learning curve on the other side for someone who hasn't got a disability to learn how to socially interact with someone who has. It's been brilliant. The lads have really fitted in well, are a big part of what's going on at the moment, so, and I hope it continues,
With the change in eating habits and the move towards more plant-based diets, the growing of vegetables in Northern Ireland has become even more important than it used to be. And in researching the show, I came across a family farm whose commitment is to reduce the amount of import by extending the growing season.
There's been great advancements with varieties, and also the climate, where we're in Strangford Lough, basically on the Ards Peninsula, and the microclimate that we're in means that we're quite frost free, which means we can start earlier, we can start planting earlier in the season, and we can extend our season a little bit longer than most other people into the winter as well. And for the like of the white cabbage there, which aren't frost hardy, we get so little frosts where we are. If we choose the right land and the right varieties, we can outwinter white cabbage all year round.
And have you managed to make an impact on reducing imports of vegetables in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, definitely. Look, the crops that we currently grow, we've been working for years and trying to bring them on earlier in the season, and also increase the end of the season as well. And every year there's advancements in that.
All around the place you see notices encouraging us to be green, environmentally conscious. Nowhere more so than in the government section, where every government department seems to be saying Let's go green, let's maintain green, let's keep our waters clear and fresh. I'm standing at the Cookery stand at the moment. I'm about to talk to one of the dairying advisors about the symbol they have on their wall, the slogan which says, sustainability driven by our soil. And I would feel that in agricultural terms, in environmental terms, that's a very important message.
We all know about the sustainability and the green agenda and so forth, but it's trying to bring that into terms that farmers can then take forward in their day-to-day work. So we talk a lot about big concepts like carbon, ammonia, biodiversity. Those are big terms. For farmers working on a day-to-day on the land, we're trying to bring it down to one of the elements that they deal with day and daily, the soil. And then from that soil, we're trying to show how that brings together all of those big concepts such as air quality, soil health, carbon, biodiversity and so forth.
Because the key thing for us as human beings to survive is that everything that goes into the soil ultimately gets reabsorbed by our guts. And that's a frightening responsibility for farmers and for environmentalists. How do we deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, not only your guts, but also your whole environment. So the water we drink, the water we swim in, all of those things, all that water's come through the soil that we farm. So it's getting across to farmers that they have a wider responsibility. And I mean, they understand that, but they need to be clear on what they can do themselves to ensure that we are keeping our soils healthy and we, as a result, are keeping the air and the water around us healthier and cleaner.
Okay, so that's the perspective about soil. But the other ingredient in environmental control is water. And water is a key factor, and a factor about which we're very worried in Northern Ireland. So I've come to talk to the experts in water management and water control.
Well, it has been very well protected, but now last year we have noticed pollution in the waterways, and we have our inspectors out checking farms and checking around by the lochs and the lakes to see where the pollution's coming from, and that is where we're heading to, so as we can guide the ones that are polluting so they don't pollute again.
Jean, we've just had the First Minister, Deputy First Minister walk past. If you were one of them, what would you do to make a difference?
I would probably get more workers to help us, because we are lacking in some of the workers in some of the areas. So the more we have, the quicker we'll get round the areas to check.
So Regen takes your dry recyclables from the household and we sort it into its different types, and then we sell them out into the component parts out into the reprocessors that then reprocess products back into new products again.
What we're all very keen to avoid in this day and age is the need to go for landfill. Does any of the product that you process end up in landfill?
Not in the last 3 years. We have everything has now moved up the waste hierarchy into waste energy. So we send material to waste energy plants, and that means then it's burned to make an energy product, anything that can't be recycled.
And is there any impact on the environment of the burning process to create the energy?
Every process has an impact, but waste energy has a largely reduced impact in comparison to landfill. And as you know, some of the figures, between 30 and 80 times the carbon damage is created through leaving in a landfill rather than going to a waste energy plant. So it is a plus, and so the whole thing now is to push waste up the food chain and get it away from waste energy plants and get it into the recycling bin.
And we're all very keen to see our councils stop using landfill. How much inroads have you made in that process, in stopping councils using landfill?
So at the moment we would send about 250,000 tonne a year to waste energy plants. In the last 5 years that all would have been going to landfill. We would see in the next, I would say, 3 to 5 years that no council will be landfilling anything. That's what I would see. I think they're all moving that way. It's just, it takes time and they will get there.
One of the most stunning Irish breeds of cattle are the moiled cattle. They're also one of the oldest breeds in Ireland. So I've come along to talk to the Baxter family about their moiled cattle and why they are so important to the beef industry in Northern Ireland.
They're a rare breed. At one stage there were only about 16 breeding females. Now we're up to about 1,000. So it's very good. They're still a rare breed. And the beef is the marble on it to eat. It's absolutely lovely. When you eat Irish moiled beef, you wouldn't want to eat anything else. But we don't breed them just to eat them.
The Dexter folk would say that if you eat a Dexter steak, you'll never eat anything else either.
Well, everybody to their own opinion. You can't disagree with somebody else.
Why do moiled cattle do well for you on your farm?
They're light on the ground and they're soft. Don't be cutting up the ground, destroying land. So,
Because they're big cattle, so you would imagine they would cut up the ground rightly.
well, they're not as big as some. You take a big Charlie, it's a big heavy cattle. They're a smaller animal, and they're native to Ireland, and they're just more tender to the ground.
One of the joys of coming to the Balmoral Show for producers, for breeders, is to do well in the show ring. And we are lucky today to get the chance to talk to the McAreevies about the successes they had at the show yesterday with their fabulous herd of Dexters. Jill, how does it feel to be a multiple winner?
Yes, it's absolutely wonderful. We were so delighted. It's such an honour to be awarded any prize at Balmoral, but to get junior champion, it was way beyond our expectations.
And it must be the fulfilment of your ambitions in terms of what you want to do as breeders.
Well, we're relatively new to the Dexters. We only started 5 years ago when Patrick was 50, and I bought him 4 for his 50th birthday. And ever since, it has, and to breed, to have a homebred as a champion is the pinnacle of showing, yes.
You must be delighted with the twins. Tell me all about that.
We're absolutely delighted. We've done a little bit of research and we've found out, we reckoned that the chances of having Dexter twins were about 1 in 50. However, we've done a little bit more research, and with some other breeders in England, we've worked out the chances about 1 in 300. So if you want to see a pair of Dexter twins, you should come along to Ballinderry Dexters, and you've probably got a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see them.
And as the people start to drift back from their day at Balmoral, some of them with happy smiles, some of them having had wonderful experiences in the warm sunshine and the great number of activities and exhibitions they've been able to see, we're going to say goodbye to you for now from Balmoral. Hopefully, we'll see you next year.